Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. A packed program ahead. I'm going to be looking at the general commentary about exactly what's happening with Bitcoin in the last few days here. I'll also be looking at the moving averages, the candlesticks, and if I have time, I might look at some of the wider markets as well, and where we think the price of Bitcoin, now that we've broken the 40,000, has a higher chance of going to. But before I begin, the usual disclaimer, please remember all my videos are for educational purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, please do your wider research. I'm simply giving you my perspective. It's not a case of being wrong or right. It's not a case of predicting something in the future. Obviously, I can't do that. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm going to have for lunch today. But if you find value in my perspective, then please do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. So with that out of the way, I'm going to start off with my Twitter page, where I've been asking the question, how do you start the day? Now, I'm not talking about the culinary delights of starting the day with your porridge, etc. Every morning we have two choices. We can start the day with positive affirmations. Example, I am excited for this day. I am so grateful to be alive. I love myself. I'm going to have a great day. I am open to all the opportunities the day will bring me. I love being alive. Today and every day I am blessed. I am full of joy. Is that how you start the day? Or do you start the day watching the news channel like 90% of the people and have a wonderful breakfast of wars, tragedies, murders, rapes, conflicts, terrorism, rising costs, crime, pollution, inequality, drug abuse, oppression? And guess what? We all have a choice of how we start the day. So please ask yourself, how do you start the day? So please head over to the Twitter page and have a look at some of the positive things that I've been trying to get everybody to be in line with. And this is what I was covering on the positive affirmation side. And I went on to give a few other quotations here. And of course, if you want to follow me on the Twitter page, then please click the link under all of my videos in the description box. Okay, so on to today and to Bitcoin. Back to the Bitcoin scenario here. We're still in this dominant trend downwards, unfortunately, and we've just had this relief rally, which I've been mentioning for the last 2 weeks. We seem to be rejecting on this trend line here from the 69,000 all the way down here. We've been rejected multiple times now here, creating all these lower highs along the way. And sadly, we've been creating lower lows along the way. And the question is, are we going to create another lower low here and another lower high over here? So that is the question. We don't have to feel down or sad or miserable about the downtrend that we've had. All we have to do is manage our emotions so that when the market presents an opportunity for us, then we're in the right state of mind to take advantage of it when that opportunity presents itself. So let's have a look closely at these price levels here. So I'm just going to give you my perspective of what I'm seeing in the charts here. Okay, so when we were coming down here, I was saying that if we break 40,000, my line in the sand will be 39,600, because that was based on the bottom of this flash crash that we had over here. And we duly broke through that. And as I said before, I went underweight at this point. But when we broke this level here, we went all the way down to these levels and created another lower high from these levels here. So when we reached this point here at 32,900, we created another lower low. And my action is always, whenever we break key levels like this, and currently we've just gone below the 40K level again, unfortunately, and my reaction to this is usually always to be defensive and to be cautious. I did add a few long-term positions over here, which I'm quite happy to stay there. And if the market does go down, then I'll write that back up. But for my swing trades and my shorter term portfolio, then I'm in a cash position waiting to see any turnaround to give me the confidence to get back into the market. But let me be clear, long term, I'm very bullish for this market. I can see 100, 200, even 300,000 in the next 12 to 18 months. But in the short term, in the next 1 to 3 months, I do see quite a few danger signs lurking. And if you've got a long-term perspective of 12 months or so, then this kind of a move isn't going to affect you in any way at all. So going into the next 1 to 3 months, what I see here developing is that having broken the 40,000 once again, this tells me the market wants to go much more lower. Of course, it can turn around at any point from here. It's just that I don't see that happening. I would like it to happen, but I don't see it happening. So going into March, with interest rates on the horizon, with the junk bond market going below key levels, the Dow Jones index on Friday closing very close to its critical level of 33,000. So with a lot of fundamental factors weighing down on the price, I feel that we could quite easily test these levels here at 32,000 again on this trend line that we drew here, which took into account the falls that we had back in May, June, July. Here is these horizontal supports that I really like to look at. And the next horizontal support is really down here, based on what happened back in May, June, July here. And that is that if we do break this diagonal trend line here, we might find a little bit of support here, but I suspect we're going to come and test this here. And the bad news around here is that that would then create another lower low here. Then who knows what can happen further down. The main thing is not to panic, but to manage the downside, i.e. we need to plan for it by reducing positions and taking the stress out of it, i.e. to hedge against the possible fall that we could have here. And as you know, my feeling over the last few weeks has been to get above this $46,000 mark. We didn't manage it. I've always said that the dominant trend is downwards, and we could just be having a relief rally here before moving down. And unfortunately, that's the narrative that's playing out. And I'm not going to be confident about this market until we get back somehow back above this 46k mark. I think in the short term, in the next few days, maybe today or tomorrow or this week, let's say, I would expect a little bit of a minor relief rally here, because we've had this going up, coming back down, going back up, coming back down, going back up, coming back down. And so this type of small relief rallies followed by downturns could push this price back up towards this trend line again. So you may have another opportunity to have a decision to make whether you want to go underweight or whatever you want to do at this point here. And that's around about the 42, possibly 43, depending on how it comes up to these levels here. So I am expecting a little bit of a relief rally anywhere around here. But certainly I don't feel that the market is ready to go back towards the 60,000 again anytime soon. That's just my feeling. I wish it would. But my experience of the market is that when you're in a major downtrend like this, just when you think that it can't get any worse, the market wants to inflict the maximum pain on its investors by coming back down much further than people think. So the question really is, do you hold and ride down with the market to whatever level it gets to, and then ride it back up again? Because eventually, without any timeline, that's what we will do, because that's what the history of Bitcoin has told us. Or the other alternative, which is what I'm taking, and that is to reduce positions on the break of this, knowing that if the market does go up, then this is what you have to forego and miss out on. So basically you miss the upside move in the short term rather than be exposed to the rather high probability of a market fall in a larger way down here. So it's a decision everybody has to make. For me, I'm not afraid to miss this move up here, if it does come, in order to protect my downside down here, if that occurs. And it is a big if. It's just that this dominant trend tells me to be cautious and to be defensive. A few days back, I showed you this chart, which was on the weekly time frame. And I showed you this gravestone doji candle, which formed at the top of this minor small trend that we've just had recently in the last week or so. Obviously, if you look at the bigger picture, we're still at the bottom of a larger dominant trend. And usually this kind of a candle at the bottom here would have actually meant a very bullish outcome. And this same candle at the top of a trend would have meant a very bearish outcome, or possibility anyway. So we got this at the top of a minor rally, but part of a bigger downtrend. So I was quite unsure how it will plan out. And I gave you this scenario that whenever you see this, always do a Fibonacci retracement on it. So from the top to the bottom of the wick here, I said that if the body of the candle is below the 38.2 level, which it is, of course, because it's down here much below the 38.2, then there is a higher probability of the price coming back down. And the way to measure the level it might come down is from the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, which I said at the time was 9%. And currently, from the bottom of the wick there to where it went to, we came down 8.81%, which is not too bad. So it may well be that this candle is giving us a sign that we may well have bottomed out here. So this candle finished last night, 12 o'clock midnight UK time, and we're now in this current week's candle, which has just started. So we've got another 6-7 more days to go yet. And it looks like another doji candle, indecision candle happening here. But certainly the fall that we've had has had a little bit of a respite with a little bit of a small rally that we've had up to about 39.5, I think here. So only time will tell. We'll see how these candles develop to see whether we're actually having a proper reversal here. So on the daily chart, what I'm looking for is what happened here. The development of certain candlestick patterns that's giving me the insight that maybe we've now turned around and we're on a reversal pattern back towards the upside. At the moment, I'm not really seeing much developing here. So what we're really looking for is a bullish Harami candle, morning star patterns, bullish doji candles, etc., etc. On the moving averages, we can see quite clearly that we've lost the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart. And when we do that, unfortunately, the outcomes are not very good. So that's putting a lot of bearish pressure on the price here. And if we look at the exponential moving averages on the 8, 21 and the 34, as we've done so far in the last many weeks, again, we did get above it and it looked really positive here, but we never got above the 46,000 mark here. And that's what I was waiting for. We got rejected there, and now we find ourselves below the 3 EMA moving averages again. And unfortunately, that can cascade much further down. And all we have to do is manage that the best we can. And until we get on multiple time frames, especially the daily and the weekly, until we get above these moving averages, my position is always to assume that the downtrend will continue, because this is the dominant downtrend, whether we like it or not. So the bearish scenario, what I can see is that we can break this diagonal trend line here, come back down to these levels here to retest the $32,000, $33,000 mark, and then come back down here to test the $28,000, $30,000 mark. And I fear that if we do come down to these levels, there is a much more higher probability to move further down, maybe down to 24, etc. So that's really the bearish scenario. However, the main bullish scenario I see is to find support back above this level here to create a higher high. And if we can manage to come back up here, back above the 40, then that would give enough fuel to get another challenge to the 46 here. And once we manage that, then we can be going towards the 69. So those are the two real scenarios that I see in the market. Only time will tell which one will play out. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found value in the video. And if you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, then please leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.